Hello ladies and gentlemen, Radjabov here. Today I want to show you a game from round 7 of Candidates 2022. This is between Fabiano and Radjabov. So Fabi and Nepo are two players who contesting for the match against Magnus Carlsen, and the other players don't really contest for it. There is a lot of criticism for this match from Kramnik, for instance, that he's claiming that actually the level of chess has dropped significantly after a lot of these internet tournaments, all this meltwater rapids, etc., and that players play like one move chess rather than think a lot of in terms of strategy and things like that. He likes all this controversial concepts, provocative stuff, but I also don't remember like people losing, like Rapport lost yesterday to Nepo. He explained something, but still I don't see how basically you can agree for a worse position and just playing for losing or draw rather than to just take the draw and go home. Also, he didn't mention, Kramnik didn't mention that Hikaru, Radjabov, Ding, they don't have a lot of practice, and for some reason they come for different reasons they don't play in this tournaments a lot, and they play a lot on the internet obviously, but it's something different. And Firuja didn't cope with his psychological issues, that he's not ready, to be behind and fight back and things like that. So again, the tournament is exciting still, but whoever plays Magnus will be decided between these two players, and probably in their mutual match. Okay, so let's get to the game. Fabi plays white, e4 standard, c5, knight d3, and a6. Very rare move. I've seen it played by Kamsky, and when I play it, I always get in some trouble. I think the idea is to force knight to d4 and then play something like e5, and knight cannot go to b5, which is an issue, and on f5 it will I mean, there are some issues, you don't really want to play knight f5 because d5, and we actually will see it later in the game. So what happened, Fabi played c4, which is very popular, but he spent some time. Knight c6 and e5. This is like a Sveshnikov system, but white again can go to b5, but what they got in exchange is this c4 pawn, and I think it's pretty good in this setups, when black can't really anymore play b5, so I think strategically Fabi was happy about what's going on. Knight f5, d5, move which I wouldn't consider. Takes with the pawn, you cannot capture with this pawn because your knight is hanging, so took, played knight to d4. So Timur has been blitzing all the moves, and Fabi was thinking, but I don't really like black's position so much right now. White has two bishops. This pawn will be protected by the knight. So he took it, and I think generally white should be a little bit ahead. And what is important is that they are ahead in development. Knight f6. Bishop g5, standard move. Bishop e7, you don't want to ruin your pawn structure, so he went this way. These moves are all very natural, and Radjabov played move which surprised me. This castles queenside, yeah. So engine suggests that castling kingside is much better. I would play it myself. This pawn on f5 is really an obstacle on white's way, yeah, and I think after takes, yeah, I don't see that position of black is that bad. They can play something like rook to d8 and look for some counterplay. Yeah, again, for me it's important to secure the king. Yeah, if you're playing long castles, then your king is going to be in big trouble, and all this king to b8 and you need to move it to 8. This all takes a lot of time. So he just took the pawn, very brave. Knight c8, bishop takes, and rook to d5. Now notice that his bishop was attacked, and this probably is a little bit passive, yeah, because he starts to attack, and you see that when you have so many active pieces you will have some kind of compensation. That's why Fabio plays this move. Bishop to c4, moves the king, queen d3. Again, you want to keep your pieces connected to defend each other, and probably if rook to d1, then white has domination in the center and probably is winning. Queen to b4, disrupting, knight to d4, queen c4. So Fabio just wants to play an endgame. So they exchange the queens, bishop to d3, and bishop to e4. So for white, it's very important to keep other pieces rather than these two bishops. Yeah, they have to be very careful not to allow too many exchanges, so that these opposite square bishops will end up in a draw. So he needs to leave at least rooks. f3, very logical, very nice bishop in the center, and Botvinnik was saying that this bishop is worth a rook. So they started the maneuvering stage. In this position, engine suggests that bishop to d6 is much better, but I don't see a really big difference. So they exchanged, and now black has some kind of counterplay. It's very important to play against something. Then it's not that just an engine evaluation, but also it kind of helps you to think, helps you to stay in the game. Yeah, even though you're much worse, then still you have some object to play against, and it gives you more power later in the game. Rook c1, he defended the pawn, and f6. So this move lost Radjabov a game. The commentators were very impressed about the idea, which Fabio fully realized, but I think it's not that difficult actually. Yeah, just to go with the king to g6 and push this knight by f4. So for me it's very easy, but probably for a professional player it's more an artificial thing. Yeah, that normally you can do that, but so that happened. Just runs with the king and f4, no, wasting no time basically. Rook to d1. You're not in time to take the pawn because your knight is hanging. Again, if you take king g6, and this passivity doesn't help you. Yeah, rook d8, and it takes the pawn, and bishop is very strong in this kind of positions. Yeah, so he tried to play with his knight, took the pawn. Important to fight for this rank, and so that king can take the pawn, and both start running. rook to d2. Unfortunately, you cannot play something like some move like I don't know, takes for instance, yeah, and play like this, because then your pawn on b3 is hanging, yeah, so he defends it from behind. So that's why Radjabov plays a5, king e6, giving the passage for his pawn. Engine is not very kind for Fabi, because he gives double question mark. It should be like from winning to losing, but it's actually just one pawn. Yes, so engines also still don't understand chess that good as people. He's still completely winning. F3. Yeah, and they both played queening move. At this point, White's king is in trouble, but even though black has this check, it appears that white can defend. And if you normally check this king somehow, then it will move with check from this queen. And this is actually a trap, very nice trap, played by Fabi. If this move, then rook to c6, yeah, and takes, king here, takes here, and this is actually a draw both queen at the same time, and black survives, yeah, with this pawn on h6. So Fabi saw it, not that difficult. He just moved his king. And they exchanged the queens again. So now white has the passed pawn, and they have very powerful bishop, which will stop this a5 pawn here. And this position, Radjabov resigned, because after this move, we just queen, and after knight to d6, stopping the pawn from queening, bishop d1, and bishop b3, stopping this pawn forever. And black is also in Zugzwang. They don't have just a move. They have to give this pawn and move the knight, and then winning this extra queen. All right, good win by Fabi. Good luck to him. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.